Wait till you see what the cat's dragged in. Moray! Come for a ride? In the back. In the back, buddy. In the back. Come on now. In the back. Don't act like that. In the back. Fine, you can stay there. G'day guys, Matt from How Heavy Duty. In today's video, we are going to be facing the connection flange for the pilot bit for our Megadrill. Now, the Megadrill that we are building, it is, if you're new to the channel, we are right in the thick of finishing off a 3 meter wide, that's 10 feet for my American friends, Megadrill that weighs 20 tons, and it's going to be sent 800 feet, or 250 meters deep, for underground mining and ventilation holes. This entire bit has been built here in the yard. We're in Queensland, Australia. And other than the rolled steel for the outer casing, everything has been done here. So it's been an absolute mission to make this. But what's going on right now is they're actually test fitting everything, checking it out, and so things are coming back in here just for final touches. So for example, what's happened is once they've welded the little flange on this, it's pulled ever so slightly, so we've just got to pop it back in and remachine it. Now the challenge with this part is there is not a single true surface on it or a machine surface for us to grab and dial in. So it's going to be quite challenging. But I think we'll probably actually end up spending more time getting it in the machine than we will machining it. So I'll show you exactly how we do that, and then we'll actually get in and face it and recreate the grooves. We're going to be using our 11-ton Megabore here behind me, we call the Hulk. It is a Spanish machine by a company called Garupcha. It's about 30 years old. We bought it secondhand specifically to be able to handle the kind of work that we do. It has a 320 mil or 12-inch spindle bore. It's a big old oil field lathe. And for us, this machine actually has its own video. And for us, this thing is just so useful because most of the time we can just grab parts and stick them up the bore, which saves us having, well, in the drilling side of things, it just saves us having to run steadies and all that kind of stuff. So really useful bit of gear for us. All right, let's have a look at this part and let's get into it. This is the pilot drill for the actual big 2.7 and 3 meter Megadrill itself. And they have brought this back in because this face here, much like the large bit itself, this has warped. So what's gone on here is this is no longer sitting fully true. So we've got to face this back and recreate the groove, much like the big version that we had. Interesting part about this is how do you grab it? Now it's too large for the Hulk in diameter to stick it up the guts. So what we've got to do, we've welded a plate here on the back. So we're going to grab it with the forejaw right here. This will hold in nicely. Got to do that a lot with stuff around here. So we're going to dial it in here. We'll dial it just off this surface. Although it's not perfect, it'll do just fine. Grab it here in the Hulk, and then we will stick a center, a pipe center. We've got one that'll just fit neatly up the center of here, just enough so that we can cut a steady run, a little steady race here. And we'll be laughing, and then we'll be able to do all the work here, no problems at all. So let's get it in the lathe and get cracking on this big boy. Now that the part is grabbed in the forge jaw and it's roughly centered, we are going to wind the pipe center itself in and then begin the process of dialing it in properly. And the Hulk actually does have an rapid feed, but when we're loading big parts in, it's locked out, so we do have to do a bit of a workout and wind it manually. We will be running the steady on this, but the part is actually so big that we're going to have to take the rollers out, wind everything right back out so that we can slide it over the part, then we'll machine the race and bring the steady back out. So it's just a little bit of forethought in setup so that it makes life a whole lot easier for us when we're actually machining the part itself. Now that I'm happy with how the part's positioned and it's turning just fine by hand, we're going to slide the steady back so that we can get in there and machine the race. In true Hale heavy duty form, we are going to have to make a shop made tool to do this because we actually don't have a tool that can reach in that far. So the reason I've chosen this particular tool is simply because we have 4 of them. Over the years we've collected this particular kind of tool. It takes a D-style insert and I don't need 4 of them. So we'll go over to our little collection of offcuts. We've got a lot of those. Nothing goes to waste in the shop. But we have a little box full of square, and that looks like just the critter I'm going to use. You can see here with a similar sort of tool, we actually have to run a packer to bring it to center height. So to make sure that we don't need to use packers and also to increase the rigidity of the tool, we're actually just going to mill out a pocket and weld this particular cutting tool in, and then we'll have a new bar for the shop. So to do that, we're just going to stick it into Godzilla, which is our big mill. We're going to mill out the exact pocket that we need, and then we'll duck over to the boiler makers and get them to quickly beat a weld on there. No dramas at all. This won't take long. So as you saw, we just busted the end of an insert. So what happened there is we actually had the feed set a little bit too high. So we're just going to readjust that down and probably halve the feed and see how it goes. Because we're not spinning it as fast as we would like, just because of I'd say the setup is not as rigid as I would love to go at full speed. We've just got to play with the feeds and speeds a little bit on it. A lot of the stuff we do on the Hulk is largely done by eye. We're just looking to see if it's chipping off correctly. So we're going to increase the speed ever so slightly, decrease the feed, and give it another crack. And look, on this channel, I'm never going to hide the stuff up from you. I think it's better to show you and let you know exactly why it happens. The original pipe center we used actually didn't do the job quite well enough. It was just a tiny little bit too small. So we've machined up from an off-cut piece of plate a shop-made steady that we can put a smaller pipe center into, and it's running a lot better. This is what it looks like. Now that the steady race is cut, we're going to wind it in so that, and the way I've always done this is you wind the bottom two up first until they are firm but not super tight. You just want it taking the weight of everything and lock it in, and then wind the top one down to secure it. Just going to double check all of the measurements that we need to recreate once this has been faced off. We do have a set of drawings to go off, but we always double check anyway. The next steps are relatively simple. We're simply going to face it using a WNMG insert. We're then going to use a boring bar to recreate parts of the inside, and then use a face grooving tool. that feed heat? Is that feed all right? You can see if you look towards the very outside, it hadn't warped much, but it's just enough to where it may have affected it. And considering this is a pilot and we've got an allowable deviation of 1 meter at 250, a little bit of extra time here to just face it off is definitely worth it to make the hole straighter in the end. We're using an ISCAR face grooving tool here specifically designed for this diameter range. As you can see there, we've got 3 different ones in the shop, little, small and infinite. This is the medium-sized one. So it's very important that the O-ring groove's width and depth is exactly correct to the size of O-ring being used. So we'd pre-taken measurements and we're running off the plans, so we're just going to put all of that and machine it out now. Even though all my finest work goes down a hole, we like to finish it off and make it look pretty at the end, so we'll give it a quick deburring. For those that are wondering why we use Azeto in the machine shop,
it's because the Milwaukee gear tends to go walkabout. So this is over in the purchasing area. It's the same in the Boilermakers and mechanics. They all love their Milwaukee, and it is great gear. If I was a Boilermaker, I'd probably use that or something more professional. But you know, even they take the piss out of me in the yard, but our Azito's never gone missing. The inner tube fits perfectly, and you can see there's a void space between that inner pipe and the outer. That's where the compressed air will go through, and it's actually up through the center where the cuttings will be blown out.
Well, I'm really happy with how that part turned out. I'd like to give a shout out to Heath, the machinist who operates the Hulk. I was actually just filming him do his fine work and helping out because everything's so heavy, it sometimes takes two people to move it all around. We have a team of myself and two other qualified tradesmen in here. So Heath, who spends a lot of time doing the manual machining, hydraulic repairs, and works on the Hulk, which is his favorite tool. I said, oh, we're gonna need to upgrade to a bigger Megabore. He's like, you're not taking my Hulk. Said, don't worry, mate, the Hulk stays. There's Ronnie as well, who's on the CNCs with me. So between Ron, myself and Heath, we're just pumping out work for the drilling industry all day long. And we have two other young guys who are learning how to be machinists as well. So between the five of us, we get the job done and we support all of these different rigs here. Our job is just to keep them spinning in the field. And my goal with the channel is just so that you get a little window into our world, like a genuine, honest, no frills attached look as to what we get up to in here. So the next step is they're going to test fit everything now again and begin sticking on the PCD buttons that actually are the cutting faces for the Megadrill. So the PCD stands for polycrystalline diamond compact, and what these are, as the name says, it's a diamond-faced cutting tip. So for the kind of ground we're going to be digging in, it's no good for hard rock, but in Queensland here, the ground is like medium hardness, we'll call it. It's not soft, but this will just chew it up. This is actually some of the chips that come out. That's actually from the Megadrill's pilot hole that's just being done. You can actually see where the cutters dig in and just pull out all this rock. So the thing is an absolute weapon. I'm so excited for you guys to be able to see this in the field. So I know that you're thinking, are we going to get to see it run? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take you out to the field. We're going to go through all the specs of the big rig you're going to get to see in the dog box, that's what they call it, where they run it. And we're going to send a very big 3-meter auger down. And then they're actually finishing the pilot hole for this right now. That's where this chip came from. And then the Megadrill itself will get craned in, the rig comes over the top, and then they send it. This is going to be freaking awesome. I hope you can feel my enthusiasm through the camera, but we've been working in here for the better part of 8 months getting all this together. So there's no one more excited than me who wants to get out there and see this thing in action. Actually, no, that's probably not true. The drillers want to see it. I know you guys want to see it. The fab shop do as well. So you're definitely going to get a window into watching these guys send it. And the other thing I'm going to do though, is let you get a full build video of how we built this thing. So over the last couple of months, I wander over to our fabrication shop and just catch bits as they're putting it all together. And I've got that archived for a future build video because it's really interesting how they've done it. Like the scale of this thing, 20 tons, 10 feet wide. It's a monster drill bit. There are bigger ones out there, believe it or not. Like Raisebore goes up to 8 meters. So this isn't the biggest. It's just a very unique way of drilling using air-powered RC or reverse circulation technology to get all the cuttings out and being able to drill from the top down. And for those that are curious, the reason why this is in such demand and why we've gone ahead with this is because with Raisebore, they have to drill a pilot hole first, but the underground mine actually needs to be there so they can drive the drill bit in, hook it onto the drill string, and then they use these massive rams and huge torque, more torque than than even our Megadrill, huge, big, I think they're like big electric motors that just from the top pull it up, and then all the cuttings have to get pulled out. The advantage with this kind of drill rig is that all of the cuttings are actually coming out as it's being drilled, and they don't have to have the mine there in advance, which is a real improvement on safety, and it means that they can pre-drill all the holes. It's kind of cool. So yeah, you're going to get to see something that really hasn't been done before like this. Well, anyway, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really appreciate it. Like, guys, when you like the videos, when you comment on them, it really helps the channel grow. So to everyone doing that, I just want to say a big thank you. The channel has performed way beyond anything I ever expected. I thought we might get to like 1,000 subscribers in a year. So it's all uncharted territory. So thank you. Anyway, I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.